Cato the Censor, or known as Cato the Elder, was known to reject Hellenism and to preach the old ways and support the old religion in favor over Hellenism. But Hellenism was too strong and too popular. Platonism, Pythagoreanism, Orphism all spread throughout Italy. So during the Roman Republic, Rome has tons of festivals. Every month, Saturnalia in December, Lupercalia is in February, Liberalia in March in honor of Bacchus, Cerealia in honor of Ceres in April, Megalesia in April in honor of Cybele, and Perilia, Robigalia, and the Floralia also in April and May, Lemuria in honor of the goddess Mania in May, Vestalia in honor of the god Vesta in June, the Games of Apollo in July, Festival of Diana in August, the Games of Rome in September. Basically every month, the Romans are throwing a festival for some sort of god. These gods change over time, and there's some major events that happen, and it has to do with the Sibylline books. But the Sibylline books in Rome were held sacred, and they were guarded by these priesthoods. 13 of these Sibyls throughout the empire. The Samian Sibyl was in Samos, the Turbotine Sibyl in the city of Tibur, the Phrygian Sibyl in Phrygia, the Persian Sibyl, the Libyan Sibyl, the Hellespontine Sibyl, as well as the Delphic Sibyl, the Cumaean Sibyl, the Cimmerian Sibyl, and the Erythraean Sibyl. The Erythraean Sibyl was the prophetess who was presiding over the oracle at Erythrae, a town in Ionia, opposite of Chios. In 433 BCE, upon the advice of the Sibylline oracles and the Sibylline books, priests were told to import Apollo. It was in a time of a plague, and the Romans vowed a temple to Apollo for the people's health. The temple was dedicated 2 years later, according to Livy. It was situated outside the Pomerium, apparently because Apollo was a non-Roman deity. There was probably an earlier shrine on this site of this temple that is later referred to as Apollo Medicus the Healer. The Sibylline books are guiding the Romans in changing their religion. And every time the Sibylline books have a message for the priests, major changes to the Roman religion. In 399 BCE, in another time of plague, the Romans introduced the Lectisternium, originally a Greek practice, on the advice of the Sibylline books. Here's what Livy says. Plague was rife, affecting all living creatures. Since no cause or end of this incurable disease was found, the Senate decided to consult the Sibylline books. The Doomvirs celebrated over a period of 8 days the first Lectisternium ever held in Rome in order to win the favor of Apollo, Latona, Diana, Hercules, Mercury, and Neptune, spreading couches for them that were richly furnished as was possible at that time. The ritual was also celebrated in private houses. And then again in 396 BCE, the Sibylline books told the priest to perform an evocatio of Juno of Veii. In 396, when the Romans were about to take the city of Veii, an important, wealthy Etruscan city to the north of Rome, they performed the ritual of evocatio, inviting their enemy's god to come over to their side. Camillus, the Roman dictator, addresses the Veientine goddess Juno, offering her a temple in Rome in return to her desertion of Veii. By the evocatio, the Romans deprived the enemy of divine protection while also adopting the gods of the vanquished into their own pantheon. This is what's going to become the theme of Roman religion and Roman success for the next 500 years. In 292 BCE, because of a plague, once again, the Romans consulted the Sibylline books, which advised them to bring in Asclepius, the Greek god of healing, from Epidaurus in Greece. Envoys were eventually sent to Greece. The god is said to have approached them in the form of a snake, and when nearing Rome, indicated the Tiber Island as the location for his temple in 292 BCE. Again, a foreign deity was installed outside Pomerium. During the Hannibalic War, several expiations were recommended by the Sibylline books after the Roman defeat at the Battle of Trasimene and the death of Flaminius. One was the building of a shrine of Venus Erycina. The epithet derives from Eryx, a town in northwest Sicily, where the principal deity, Astarte, was the Carthaginian equivalent of Venus. This area had been an important stronghold of the Carthaginians during the First Punic War, and had only been conquered by the Romans with great difficulty. In 217 BCE, the fear was that this part of Sicily might defect from Rome. This importation would seem to be another instance of evocatio, even though not explicitly mentioned as such in the scanty sources, since her temple was located on the Capitoline Hill. Venus Erycina is the first known example of a foreign deity to be brought inside the Pomerium. Then in 213 BCE, the continuing war resulted in religious hysteria in Rome and the abandonment of Roman ritual. The Senate ordered that the praetor to collect all the written prophecies and rituals and to forbid sacrifice in a new or foreign rite. The foreign superstition was evidently orgiastic and was perhaps an outbreak of Bacchic worship or that of Magna Mater, or even both cults. But a year later, in 202 BCE, Livy reports the praetor's edict. 2 oracles were published in response to the second games to Apollo, were authorized after consultation of the Sibylline books.